everybody, this video is going to be for the people that took my crochet cherry workshop. I'm going to be showing you 2 different ways of doing the crochet cherry. In front of me I have the red varsity color size 4 yarn that's Big Twist brand, and I have my size 5 hook. For both, I'm going to be showing you how to do how to crochet the cherry in rows and like in the flat, and also crocheting in the round, so you can have 2 different variations. For both of them you're going to be needing to do a slip knot. So in order to do a slip knot, I put out my 2 left fingers and I wrap the yarn once around my hand like that. You're going to be having the yarn side by side. I'm going to zoom in. Alright, so this is the yarn that's on the right, this is the yarn on the left. I have the right yarn over the left, and then I do that again. This is the one on the right, this is the one on the left, so I'm going to grab the one on the right and wrap it over the one on the left, so it's essentially making like a twist on itself. And I'm going to grab the yarn that's on the right hand side and pull it up and not let go, and then I'm going to carefully take out my fingers, and I'm going to pull these 2 ends away from each other, so I get the yarn that's coming from the skein, the tail end, and the slip knot, and I pull it away from each other in different directions, and as you saw, that made that knot. And I'm left with this big loop, which is a slip knot. And now in order to make that slip knot smaller, I'm going to be pulling on the tail end, and it'll shrink in size. You want it about the size of the crochet hook. You don't want it too big or too small, just enough for it to be able to slip and slide around. It is a loop, and you are going to be working into this loop, so try not to make it too tight. Next, the way I hold my yarn, I put the yarn over my pinky, under my 2 middle fingers, and over my pointer finger. So the yarn is over my pinky and my pointer finger, and then I hold my left hand in the shape of a small letter B. The pointer finger is pointing upward, it keeps this taut, and my middle finger and thumb are holding on to the knot, the slip knot that we made right under the hook. Now the crochet hook, I picture the crochet hook head having a face, like this is the face of it, and it's going to be facing me the whole time. You're going to be dipping underneath the yarn, grabbing yarn, and with the shape of the head, it automatically grabs that yarn. You're going to be approaching the loop, and as you're about to approach the loop, we're going to turn the face downward, like dip it downward, so it can clear through the loop. So we pull it through the loop, and as soon as you pull it through the loop, you're going to recover and face the face of the hook again toward you, so it doesn't fall off the hook. So again, we're going to go underneath the yarn, pull it toward the loop, and as soon as you're about to reach the loop, I'm going to be facing the hook downward, going through the loop, and I'm doing a quick recovery. So some things that could go wrong is you go over to grab yarn and you're approaching the loop. If you don't dip down, if you stay sideways or facing upward even with this hook, it's going to get caught and you're not going to be able to go through the loop. So make sure you dip downward whenever you're approaching the loop so you can clear it. If you stay in this position for too long, the yarn could fall off, so make sure you make a quick recovery and face the head of the hook toward you. Another thing that could happen is whenever you go to approach this loop, the loop might be too tight and you can't clear it even though you're face downward. So what I recommend doing is lifting your crochet hook toward the ceiling so that this loop can get bigger. As you can see, as long as you pull, it'll get larger and larger. And if it's too loose, then if you pull your pointer finger away from it, it shrinks. So I think of this sort of like a pulley system. It has like a give and pull, and you can adjust the tension this way. What you're trying to aim for when you're making this chains is making each one of these chains uniform and about the similar sizes to one another. So we're going to be making 9 chains. As you can see, it's making small little V's, and that's how you count the chains. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. We're going to make a total of 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so next in our chain, we're going to be making single crochets. We're going to be working back into the chains. We're going to be putting our first single crochet into the second loop from the hook. Not this first one, but the second one. And it makes sense because if you were to go into that first one, you'll lose the loop that you just made or the work that you just did. And these V's, if you can imagine, they're shaped like kind of looking like this. So you have the center of it is empty right in the middle, even though you can't really see it, but that's the center part that you're aiming for. You're going to be putting your crochet hook through that center part. Okay, so not this one, but this one. Go right through the center of it. We're going to go straight through. Grab some yarn, and you're going to bring it toward the loop and clear it so that you're on this side, and it will leave you with 2 loops on your hook. And this on its own is not a knot, so we need to make sure it's a finished knot. So we need to go back and get more yarn and clear it through both of these. And that is a finished single crochet, and that's what it looks like. You'll notice the hole right underneath the single crochet will be a little bit larger. That's how you'll know that you just worked into that stitch. Then you're going to do the same thing into each one of these V's, into each one of these chains. So you're going to be going right in the middle of it, going through, grabbing yarn, bringing it toward you, clearing it toward this side. You have 2 on the hook. Grab more yarn and pull through both. And again, similar things can happen. If your loops aren't large enough, your crochet hook could get stuck on these. So once again, you can just raise your crochet hook to the ceiling to give it more space. I think of this as like a train going through a tunnel, and if the tunnel is not big enough, the train's not going to pass through. Another thing that I was telling my students in order to remember this 2-step process of making a single crochet, I tell them a little story. I say this hook or this loop is all alone in the world. It's out to make a friend, so it's going to go out the door to make a friend. It finds a friend, grabs it, brings them over to their place. They're getting to know each other. They have so much in common. They fall in love and they want to get married. And they run out to go get an engagement ring. So they're going to get an engagement ring, and they get one and they get one. And now they have officially tied the knot. You can also do like a kid version of it. You know, you're at home, you want to make a friend, you go out, get a little friend, bring them over. You want to be best friends, and you get a charm bracelet. Go out to get a charm bracelet, and you get one, and you get one, and now they're best friends. Okay, whatever helps to remember how to do that single crochet. And like I said, we're going to be doing a single crochet in each one of these. I'm approaching the end. Getting that tension just right on that chain is going to help you. You want the loops not too big or not too tight. If they're too tight, they're going to be kind of fighting yourself trying to stab through these and make the single crochet. So that's just going to take time and practice getting those chains just right. As you can see, after we're done, we have this chain that we're left with on the top. These are the chains that we're going to be working on whenever we work on the other side or the next row. So this is how we count. This one is on its side. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 made. We're going to chain 1 at the end. So that in order to chain 1, we just grab yarn and pull it through just one single time. That is a chain 1 right there. We do that because we need the height for the next row that we're about to start. After chaining 1, we turn our work. I picture this as a book or a page in a book. We're going to be turning the page. We're going to be working on the back side of this page now. So you're going to be going under both of these stitches right here. Not just the front, not just the back, but you're clearing under both. So you need to stab it right underneath, go through, and I kind of turn the work toward me so that I can see what I'm doing. and make sure you're just going through both of these stitches. You'll know if you're not, because you'll be left with like a raised little border if you're doing just one or the other. So make sure you're clearing both and you'll get nice smooth work. Okay, so now we're going to be putting a single crochet in each one of these stitches once again, just making sure that we go underneath both of these stitches each time. This is where I'm going to put my crochet hook. We go in, we cleared underneath both of them. We're going to grab some yarn, bring it over to this side. We have 2 on the loop on the hook. We're going to grab some more yarn and finish off this knot. Okay, and we're going to do 1 in each, so at the end of this we'll be left with 8 single crochets across. And we're just going to continue to do this until we have 12 rows. Now this last stitch tends to trick people. It used to trick me in the beginning for sure. I jokingly refer to this last stitch as like the drunken uncle. He's laying on his side. He's passed out over here. It's really hard to tell what's what with this one, but if you turn it, it looks just like another one of these chains that we're working on. Another thing I do just to see if it is one, I count. Make sure you count your stitches. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need to have 8. So that is obviously still a stitch I need to work in. A lot of the times people will forget to work in this stitch and start losing stitches. If you're not making enough stitches, or you're making 2 in each, the shape of these sides will start to tell you. The shapes of the sides should be straight on both sides, like straight edges. If you're making too many, it'll start arching out like a rainbow, and if you're making too few, it'll start making like a triangle, and you'll start shrinking your work. So we're at the end of a row once again, and we're going to be chaining 1, grabbing yarn and pulling it through and flipping our work. And that's all we're going to be doing for the next 12 rows. So I'll meet you here whenever I have all 12 rows done. Okay, I have 12 rows. The way you can count it is like after every 2 there's like this little divot, like a little line. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And what you're going to be doing is putting these 2 edges together, line them up, and I usually go from the front to the back, and I'm going to be stitching these 2 closed. So I put my crochet hook through this very first stitch right here and make it even to the back stitch. I'm going to grab yarn, and I'm going to pull completely through this time. No pausing, no grabbing more yarn. This is called a slip stitch. Let me zoom in. I'm going to be going through the next one right here. Even with the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to get them as even as possible. So you're through both layers, grabbing yarn and pulling completely through, immediately through. You should have about 8, just even, at the same amount that we've been having. We're essentially making like a tube. Okay, and now we're going to cut our yarn, leaving maybe about 10 inches to 12 inches, and we're going to be pulling our yarn completely out. I had to rejoin my yarn, so it's going to give me a hard time. There you go, and just pull it completely out. And the last thing that we made was a knot, so you don't have to worry about it coming undone. This is when we use our tapestry needle. We're going to be getting the yarn that we just cut off, putting it on there. I like to tuck this other tail end inside. for now, just so it's out of the way. And now I'm going to be sewing or kind of weaving this in order to cinch this rounded part up. So I'm going to go under this and just continue doing that approximately for every stitch that we have. So just under. Let's zoom in a little bit. And like I said, I joined yarn, so I have that sticking out right there, but you won't. Okay. Right there. And every once in a while you can pull on this softly, gently, and you can see it'll start kind of cinching up, kind of like a drawstring bag. So just going up and under and out, up and under and out. Hope that's not confusing you there. It's extra yarn I had. Okay. Okay, and cinching it up. And then I just go back and forth a few times, just across. So this is like the only downfall of making like a circle or a sphere this way. You'll get like bunched up edges on the sides. The next way I'm going to show you, which is crocheting in the round, it'll be a lot smoother. But if you're barely learning, it's a fun and easy way to do this. So I'm going to just hide my tail end down the center. And I'm going to do the same for the other end. I'm going to grab some more yarn and cinch the other side closed. You can just put your needle wherever underneath one of these stitches. Make sure you don't pull all the way through and lose that other tail end, and just go up and under same way. And before you cinch it completely closed, you want to grab some type of filling. It could be extra yarn. I use this polyfill. Stuff the center of it. I'm going to cinch it up and keep closing it. And start shaping this so it's like more spherical. And we're going to close it nice and tight. And again, I like to do a couple of stitches across the way from each other, just to make sure it stays, and straight down the center of it. You can even go up the center again, down the middle. And it'll actually like squish the cherry a little more, like that. You could do that a couple of times if you'd like. Okay. And then you just cut your ends. And you have a little cherry. Okay, now the next way I'm going to make this, it starts off the same way. but we're going to be working in a circle instead of back and forth. Again, you're going to make a slip knot, right over left, grab your yarn, lift it up, take your fingers out, pull, cinch up your slip knot, make sure to leave some tail, the tail end, put your crochet hook on, and you're going to be chaining 3, and you're going to be actually joining the very last stitch that you made to the very first stitch that you made, so connecting them. So you're going to be going through the center of the very first stitch that you made, grabbing yarn and pulling it completely through. Okay, and this will actually leave a little center opening. If you imagine, it's just like a circle, like looping back in on itself. So right in the center is an empty hole, and you're going to be making single crochets into this center circle. Okay, so you're going to be going straight down the center of this hole. Let me zoom in a little bit. So I join the 2 ends, and I'm going to be going straight down the middle, me grabbing some yarn, pulling it up, pretending like it's just like that row that we worked. If you have 2 on the loop, I'm going to grab some yarn and finish that single crochet. And we're going to be making 8 single crochets into this center. So that's 1. You go back into the center, grab yarn, pull it up. Yep, 2 on the loop, on the hook, I mean. Yarn over, pull through both. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's going to start turning because it's a circle. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, much different, yes, but not too different. It still has the chains, the little V's, just like we had in the beginning with our row. If you remember when we were crocheting in the flat, it had these stitches like this, and it was laying on the top, right? So essentially all we've done is connect these 2 ends already. So it's in a circle, and you're going to be working around in a circle instead of back and forth. Okay? So the way we count this is looking at these little stitches right here, these little V's, a chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 1 more, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1 more down the center. Pull up. You got 2. Close it up. That's a single crochet. So now I have 8 all around. And you can choose to connect these just to make it less complicated. You can go underneath the very first single crochet, under both of them, grab some yarn, and just pull completely through, making your slip stitch. Now it's a connected circle, okay? And you're left with a little hole in the center. You can try to pull the tail end a little bit tighter and see if you can cinch it up some, but it'll always have a tiny little hole there if you do the way we just did, which was chaining and then connecting. There is something called the magic circle, which would let you tighten this completely and make that circle completely disappear, but that's for another video or another class. I usually teach that in my second class. So for now, a lot of people don't like the magic circle or find it confusing or hard. I think with practice, you know, you can figure it out. It's not as hard as some people make it sound or seem. I prefer it just because I like for that little hole to completely disappear, but it's not going to like hurt anything. We're going to stick a steri chem through there anyway, so it'll be fine. So I had like I said, I have 8 all the way around. We just slip stitch that close. So in this very next stitch, we're going to be working 2 So this is another difference that's going to happen when you're working in this circle. We're going to be increasing. So increasing means you're going to go into the hook, do your single crochet like normal. That's one. And now the difference is we're going to make him a neighbor. I feel like they're roommates. Remember this was a couple? Well, times are tough and they're going to be roomies, so we need another couple. Okay, so we're going to be going into that exact same stitch that we just came out of and go back in and make another single crochet. So we're just making this circle larger in essence. By the end of this row, we're going to have 16. So it doubled, right? So instead of 8, we're going to have 16. So we go back into the same one, grab some yarn. There's 2 couples, or yeah, a pair, right? We're going to marry these 2. So there's 2 couples in the same stitch right there. Okay? And we're going to do that for every single one of these stitches. Do 1 single crochet and then your second single crochet. Single crochet, second single crochet. This is called increasing. Do 2 in each, 2 in each. Some people ask me, how do you know if you already did 2 in each? Well, it's going to take practice and it's going to take really looking at your work. There's a V and there's a V, and it's coming into this stitch. That's how you know it's a single crochet. There's also 2 of these V's hovering over this stitch. This is a V and this is a V. That's 2 stitches into this stitch. So sometimes I like to pull these apart a little bit to kind of see what's happening. This is kind of what a singular one would look like. It's just 1 hanging out all by itself. 1, and this is 2. Okay, and another good way is counting. There's just going to be a lot of counting in crochet. So let me see how many I have. I'm going to go around the tops and count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I need 2 more. This is my last one. 15 and 16. Let's count again just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay? Something else you can also use to help yourself when you're crocheting in the round is using like a stitch marker. They sell these at Amazon, Walmart, wherever they have like craft products. I like to do something to identify my very first stitch so that I can know that I'm back around to the very beginning. You could have done that since the very first row, just so you know. It'll just keep like newbies understanding like when they complete a row. Okay, so this is a way you count rows also. This is the first row and this is the second row, and we're about to make the third row. For the third row, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each. I'm going to actually take out my stitch marker because it's in the way right now, but I'll put them right back in. So I'm going to go into this next stitch and make a single crochet, just 1 singular crochet. And let me put my stitch marker back in so I'll know that I completed the row and made it all the way back around again, okay? And we're just going to do 1 in each. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we're back at the beginning. You should have 16 at the end of this, okay? I think I'll go ahead and do 1 more row of 16. I'm gonna go ahead and get my stitch marker out. It's in the way. And don't worry about your speed. Speed's gonna come with practice. I've been crocheting about 11 years at this point. It's all more about quality than how fast you're going. I'm going to do 16 all the way around again. And in the following row, we're actually going to be decreasing stitches, which means like making some of these go away, making it smaller so the cherry can taper down. Okay, I'm back to the beginning. This is what it's looking like, a little mini hat. Okay, I'm going to take my crochet hook out, the stitch marker out. Now, in order to decrease, we're actually going to be working in just the front loops. If it's too hard to just work in the front loops alone, you can go ahead and work under both. But I prefer to work underneath just the front loops for this next method. It's called an invisible decrease. So I'm going to go under the first loop and under the second loop, the very next stitch. So, my yarn split. Okay, right there. So under the first and second, right there. Okay, I have 3, right? And I'm gonna grab some yarn, and I'm gonna pull through all 3 of these. It's gonna take some practice to be able to get this smoothly, but hopefully you'll get it. Okay, and so what ended up happening is it joined 2 stitches into one big stitch. We're making them disappear. We're going to do it all over again. You see how there are 2 stitches right now? We're going to go under the front loop only, under the front loop only of this next stitch. Got 3 on my hook, and I'm going to reach over and go through all 3 and make it another one disappear. Okay, we're going to do this all around, and we're going to be left with 8 single crochets. Under the front loops and join it. And count how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I have 1 more to do. We'll be back at the beginning. Okay. And you see how it's tapering in? This is like at its widest point at 16. And now it's at 8. So it's shrunken the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, I like to tuck my tail ends into the cherry so it won't confuse me. And at this point, you can also start stuffing your cherry a little bit with some polyfill to give it some shape. I know this is a little bit harder for beginners, but I do really enjoy the shape and look of this. It's less clumpy than this version. Like I mentioned, this gets kind of bunched up on both ends, and this makes for a much smoother, rounder look. Usually when you're making like plushies or hats, this is the preferred method right here, okay? But I have made like pumpkins and things like using this method. So either way is fine, as long as you're practicing and learning. You can start figuring out what works best for you. Okay, I'm gonna try to do some more decreases. 1 more round of decreases, so I can close this hole up. Okay, so just once again, going under the first 2 loops, I have 3, and closing this up. That's 1, 2, 3, and it is getting tight. If you can try to do 4, do 4. If not, it's fine. we'll close it up with our tapestry needle. It's getting really tight and harder. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and cut some thread, leave a little bit. You don't have to leave as much this time, maybe about 6 inches or so is good. And you're gonna pull this completely out, just like you did last time. Okay, and you can do that little drawstring method again so we can cinch this end up closed. So just going under, up and under some of these stitches all around, up and under, and giving it a little pull, and it'll seal the little end of that. And again, I like to go straight down the middle, straight down the center, and just come back out of it so that we can lose that yarn. And there is your cherry. And you can go ahead and trim your ends. So those are the two variations. This is working in the row, and this is working in the circle. And for the cherry stem, I just kind of made it up, but I chained 13 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I'm going to be making a few stitches that we've already made previously, and maybe one that you're not familiar with yet. But you're going to be single or doing a slip stitch into the second stitch from the hook. So going in, grabbing yarn, and going out immediately out of the loop. Okay. And in this next one, we're going to be making a single crochet, which is the normal go in, find your friend, bring them over, and marry them. Okay, so it's getting a little bit taller. Slip stitch is the shortest, single crochet is a little bit taller. Now we're going to introduce you to a little bit taller stitch called a half double crochet. Half double crochet, you're going to wrap your yarn around, then go through, get some yarn, pull through, and you'll have 3 on your hook, and you will wrap more yarn and pull through all 3. So if you see, it's like a little staircase. It's getting a little bit taller with each variation. And then just to finish this, I will go ahead and go into my next stitch and just do a single crochet. So you go in and bring it out immediately. And I will cut this yarn, pull it completely out, and you can weave in your ends. Essentially, weaving in ends is just hiding your thread, hiding your ends into the work so that it doesn't become unraveled. So I'm just trying to find a spot to put my needle right in between the stitches, and you can bring the loop toward you and pick different stitches. Maybe that first time you went up and over or through. This time you can pick different stitches to go through and tie this away from you. Pull all the way through. And for good measure, just do it one more time towards you. Kind of pick different stitches. And you can go ahead and cut this off and trim it. And you can use this other tail end to attach your little stem to your cherry. And you can decide which side is your end. I think I'll pick this side. And I'll just put this in a couple of times, just a couple of stitches, just wrap it. Go in and out of the top here. Just making sure it stays put. And I'll probably go down the center again and come out one of the sides and give it a nice tug. Again, go ahead and trim it. as close as possible, and the yarn stays stuck in the middle of the cherry and disappears. Okay, so that's a quick little cherry stem for you. All right, I hope you go and practice, and thanks for taking my class, and make sure to practice and watch this video. Thank you.